of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just so everybody knows, there are 3 supervisors here. 2 of them are on the phone. Unfortunately, they had to do some traveling, but they were able to call in, so we have a legal quorum, and we could go ahead and proceed with the meeting. Is there any public discussion on any of the agenda items?
What's the alternative sewage systems?
Alternative sewage systems is some stuff that was passed by the legislatures, Act 26 and 34, a way while back, and the DEP doesn't allow them to use
I
them,
made 5.
even though it was passed.
Where's all the other ones? I made
Oh,
5
there
copies.
He stole
I'm
them.
sorry, I beg your pardon.
So they've
Take
been
out
on the
my-
books,
So-
we just haven't been able to use them.
Thank you.
They've been, and the DEP won't let them use them, so they're asking,
You said the municipalities are passing them if they want to use them.
well, they're wanting support to push the DEP to allow them,
Oh, okay.
is what that's for. So, anything else? All right, we'll move on. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the August 25th Board of Supervisors meeting. Is there a second? Who?
That was
That-
Gary. That was Gary.
Was that Gary or George?
That was Gary. Gary second, Gary.
Okay. Motion's been made and second. Any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Might want to make a motion to approve the departmental reports.
Gary Cowles makes a motion to approve departmental report. I'll second that.
Motion's been made and second. Any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. I'll make a motion to authorize, ratify the payment of bills and payroll for the month of September 2021.
I'll second that.
Motion's been made and second. Any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.
I'll make a motion to approve and execute a new 3-year contract with the Animal Control Services at a new rate of $225 monthly, which is an increase of $25 a month. I'll second that.
Motion's been made and second. I do have one question, and it's probably a Tom question. Is there any reason that, since she's a contracted service, that we should require a proof of insurance?
You may, and you can say subject to proof of insurance.
You know, I looked over that and I didn't see anything about it, and I'm just trying to protect the township. I think we should, if Gary and George both agree, add to that motion that we would like to have a copy of proof of insurance.
I will so amend the motion.
George?
I'll second that.
Okay, motion's been revised and made and second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 2021K, asking the DEP to allow for alternative wastewater disposal systems pursuant to Act 26 and Act 34. And I believe that was, those were passed by the legislature, and I think they were even endorsed by the governor.
Yes.
I'll second this.
Motion's been made and second. Any questions? All in favor signify by...
More of a comment, Gary. I did digging into this. This is a real screw up, and they've actually were supposed to be moving towards the concept of making it less of a hassle to use the alternate wastewater systems, like the drip systems and the newer ones that have now been proven. And instead, somehow they got this thing back
And no, it just, if you read that, and I looked at it, it just seems like it's kind of a power struggle between the DEP and everybody else, in my opinion.
It is.
Yeah. Okay, motion's been made and second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.
I'll make the motion to adopt resolution 20. What's that?
2021L.
Yes, establishing a fee schedule for residential permit fees. I can second that.
Motion's been made and second. By the way, that fee is going to be $60 per quarter. Billing will now come from the township itself, not through Jordan's tax service or waste management.
Effective with the first quarter of 2022.
Effective the first quarter of 2022. Any questions? Motion's been made and second. Any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.
I'll make the motion to sign and execute the amendment to compensate and reimburse agreement between Mount Pleasant Township and the Mount Pleasant Township Volunteer Fire Department.
I'll second that. Motion's been made and second. Any questions? I just have one for Darla. Have you received the signed agreement from the fire department yet?
No, no.
Well, just so everybody knows, I will not sign this agreement until we have the signed agreement from the fire department.
And you can certainly make the motion contingent upon your execution following receipt of their executed documents.
Gary, you want to add, did you hear what Tom said?
I did not.
So,
He said you should make part of your motion that I could execute the agreement upon receiving their signed execution of the agreement.
Let me restate. I make a motion that upon the township receiving for the chairman of the supervisors to review and determine correct, to sign and execute an amendment to compensation and reimbursement agreement between Mount Pleasant Township and Mount Pleasant Township Volunteer Fire Department.
I'll second that. Any other questions? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. I'll make a motion to authorize door-to-door trick-or-treat on Sunday, October 31st from 6 to 8 p.m. and trunk-or-treat on Saturday starting at noon.
I'll second that.
Motion's been made and second. Any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
I think that we should actually say it's Saturday, October 30th though, so that people don't get thinking it's the Saturday after.
Oh, okay.
Good idea.
Seems like it's wrong, but
All right, we'll make that change, and
And when I
I'll add
post
that to
it,
my motion. And George, you'll second it.
yep.
Any other questions? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. I'll make a motion to, go ahead.
The support letter to Comcast to applying for grant to extend broadband service to unserved homes in Mount Pleasant Township.
I'll second that. Motion's been made and second. Any questions?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I feel like as if, we've got somebody else that has done, I consider, a very good job of serving the broadband function in Hickory. And I guess without at least extending hey, have you guys considered working through this process as well or doing something? I feel like we're giving Comcast an advantage that, considering their track record for service, I don't know that I'm 100% in favor of supporting.
Well, Comcast is already here in the township, and frankly, if Hickory or Aurora, whatever they go by, they should already be doing that or requesting a letter from us. I don't think it's up to us to go to them and tell them that. It's more up to them to come to us and request it.
I understand. Like I said,
I understand where you're coming from, but yeah, I think we would be overstepping our bounds, let's say, if we did that prior to allowing Comcast to authorize that letter.
Did Verizon ask for a letter for you too?
No.
I guess from my stand, Gary, it's just a letter of support, and we're not under any obligation to actually give them this letter, and that doesn't stop them from applying at the same time. I'm afraid it makes it look like as if we are choosing one over another, even though the other hasn't sent. It's like, I just feel like Comcast might be trying to get us to sway one way or another, if such a function does exist. I don't know why it's being politicized, I guess I'm saying. If Comcast already is in our township, why do they need a letter from us?
Because I think they're going after some federal money to extend that, and the government likes to see letters.
It's a grant application that they are completing to get funding to extend broadband, and they are asking us if we would be willing to provide them with a letter of support.
And I take it that part of their application package is either requires or is favorable if they have such a letter of support.
In my past experiences when applying for a grant, the more letters of support that you have, kind of gives you a little leg up. It doesn't guarantee that you're going to get the grant, but it helps more than hurts.
Right. And again, and kind of responding to both of the supervisor's comments without wanting to, solicit something that hasn't been asked, it appears that HTC has not, or is not, or at least is not yet in the process of expanding or seeking a grant to expand. Because if they were, they would issue, send a letter to you to that effect. If you wished, you could authorize that letter of support and at the same time indicate your support for any such letter that you may receive, if any, from HTC.
Request. You want to change your motion, George?
I mean, to me, if they're gonna, if Hickory wants to come and request it, we can still give them the same letter, right?
Right.
Yes.
It's not like we're,
That's kind of what I'm saying.
we're
Yes.
yeah. So I mean, I mean, if Hickory wants to come and ask us for a letter, we can give them a letter. I mean, it's just us just saying that, hey, we support you to do this. I don't think that we're saying that we're supporting them more than anybody else.
No, I don't think it is either. It just so happens Comcast come for the letter, and you could change your motion to
Include Hickory /
include
Aurora.
HTC or Aurora, whatever it is, and give them a letter of support also.
Yeah, in the event they ask
To
for
be
one.
to like, if Verizon wants to do, like, can we just do it so that it's for everybody? Like, if somebody comes,
Well, these are specific.
support, we just.
Sorry, George. I didn't mean to step on your toes. With Darla's explanation, these are letters that, by definition, come from a request from the cable outfit, whether it's Comcast or HTC or whoever is seeking the state grant. Okay.
Right.
I don't think Verizon.
Yeah, I can.
Theirs is not cable.
Let me address that. There's some nuance in the law, and if you watched the Emmys the other night or last night, and they're talking about some of the shows that were quote unquote streaming services under the Telecommunications Act and the cable franchising requirements. Even though it's a technicality, there's a distinction between things that go through the telephone lines and the cable lines, and some of the services that are provided by Verizon over the cable, Fios, etc., are not subject to the same law and requirements. So we have no evidence that Verizon is providing any such service. Nonetheless, just for folks' information, based on recent reporting regarding activities of contractors working in the area, I did send a letter to their national council in Washington, D.C., advising them of their obligation if and when they do start engaging in any such activity to come to us for a franchise agreement. In the meantime, the code officer is handling matters regarding them being in our right-of-ways. Having said that, these letters of support are just like the letters of support that the township manager may seek from other municipalities, counties, other entities when we're seeking grants. And certainly it would be, there is no letter from HTC on the table. They're not requesting a grant, or we haven't received a letter in conjunction with one. Certainly, as the chairman suggested, it would be appropriate if you wish to fashion a motion to say that you would support a letter of support to the Comcast's request, provided that we similarly support any request that we may receive from HTC.
And again, this is Gary Cotton. George doesn't need to change his motion or anything. It bothers me a little bit. I still remember when Comcast had a line down across a certain dead-end road in the township, and their response time of not caring about getting to it made it so garbage wasn't being dealt with very quickly. And that's several years back, but I just don't think Comcast has shown us the best record for actual support of the township residents. And it's still a good motion. I understand what Tom just said, and it really is just a letter. Gary, you're correct. So George, leave his motion alone, and we can vote on it. I'm just so concerned about Comcast, who is a cable provider, the Verizon and HTC, because their phones are defined boundary lines within the township. But Comcast doesn't have that same defined boundary system. So that's why I brought it up. My apologies that it creates such a large debate.
Hey, it's always nice to debate things. That keeps us all sharp. Anyway, motion's been made and second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, no. Motion.
Gary, did you say no?
Gary Calvin, no.
No. Motion carries 2-1.
And if I might, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Collin, if I might interject, your concerns are not inappropriate or actually untimely in a larger scheme. I can let you know that we actually did the Comcast. They have 10-year franchise agreements. Their agreement is up in 2023. They are required to, and actually just within the last month or so, gave us a pre-notice that they're required to start that process, and we have forwarded that to our special counsel that helps us with cable matters. If you file away that and all your concerns, those are actually germane and relevant topics that you are able to and can and should bring up when we engage them in their next round of renewal discussions.
Very good.
If that's helpful for you.
All right. Discussion item, The 2020 census.
Yes, I did receive some information that they are gonna have what they call a CQR program, which is account question resolution. It will be rolled out the fall of this year. We won't be able to actually have the opportunity to request a review of our 2020 census until January. But I did do some investigating, and we had over 80 homes built since the last census. I've also heard from some residents and employees who stated that they never received a census form. So I'm going to do my best to try and have that heard. I don't know if it'll do any good, but you know, the loss of residents affects a lot of things that we get. Our liquid fuel, our Act 13, our local share. Liquid fuel is based on miles of roads plus population. The population is in the equation of any kind of funding that we receive. So I'm going to do the best I can to tell them that I don't believe it's right.
Would it be smart to put something on Facebook, the webpage, whatever, asking people that if you did not receive a census, to contact you so that you can record those, so
Yes.
that you have something.
Yeah, it might.
You
It
know,
probably wouldn't hurt.
It's not going to hurt anyway.
Okay. All right. I can do
And
that.
what did they show? We were down 200.
I think it was like 276 people or something.
Yeah,
It was
which-
pretty close to 300. And while I was also going through the permit registers, I also looked at like demolitions. But most of the demolitions were like older abandoned homes
or
that didn't have
garages.
people in them
Right.
to begin with. So I see very little, you know, that of the population decreasing that way. So
I think that's something we should put on there and, and record whoever calls so that you have exactly who it
Okay.
is.
all right. Okay.
Okay? Any other discussion items?
One thing before I think those people might want to speak, but I just wanted to let you know that we got the renewal for the health insurance, and it's a 4.5% increase, which is relatively small because the average increase for them in the group that we're on was 7 to 9%. But I guess we fall into the better category for them. So
That's a lot better than it has been.
yes.
You, George, you have anything to bring up, or Gary?
Nope.
Okay.
I'm good.
All right, I'm going to open up the floor. Any resident questions, comments?
And Darla, these folks had a zoning permit question. I told them I could help them with that.
Oh, okay, all right, okay, then that's fine, okay.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn. We are going to have a quick executive session for personnel matters after this. We won't be making any decisions and won't be coming back in session. And Gary and George, we'll sign off from this line, and we will call you back on our personal cell phones, because other people can dial in this 800 and it's not conducive to an executive session.
I get it. Okay. I will hang up and wait for your call.
All right, we'll call you back shortly.
We need a second.
Yeah, give us a few minutes. All right, thanks, guys.